You just tuned it in.
Global and worldwide.
Hit you on the one with no delay. Because it's the Fighter's Voice.
The Fighter's Voice.
With your fighting host, Richard Ortiz.
And the formidable co-host,
Mr. Cole Escobedo. Remember, every fighter has a voice.
Fresno, California, we're live here in Madtown Productions, The Fighter's Voice, the only voice that matters, Knockout Podcast. We got a great show for you tonight. In studio, well, I want to say in studio, on the line in studio, we have the one, the only Mr. Luca Catal. He's in charge of ITR Boxing. He's the owner, the CEO, and he's the one who pushes everything so everybody can know. He goes down, gets down and dirty. He gets gritty. He does what he has to do to get the scoop before anybody else gets it. He gets the inside intel, and after a while, he just puts it out there for everybody to enjoy it. He gets what he needs to get done. The man never stops. He never sleeps. When you sleep, he's passing you up, my man. In this media world, hey, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And sometimes it's good to know people that know people that know people. Enough said. Welcome to the show, my man. What's up, Luca?
Hey, how goes it?
How goes it, my man? You know what? Finally, my mic's a little loud. Finally got you on the Fighter's Voice. The only voice that matters, my man.
Yeah, I mean, every fighter has a voice, and I'm here with Richard Ortiz of the Fighter's Voice, so I'm excited.
That's right, man. I'm excited to have you too, man. I mean, I don't even know where to start, man. I mean, we can start in any division in boxing. I can even throw MMA at you, and you're gonna hold your own and give us your top 10 pound for pound in every division. Not only are you a scholar in this, not only do you perfect your craft, you refuse to take second place. And when I say that, you're satisfied with the outcome every time you go in depth on your research, my man. I mean, you're always seem to be a step ahead of everybody. You have a great rapport with world champions, from the amateurs to contenders. I mean, enough said, my man. I mean, and you've always been straight up with me from day one, and I appreciate that and I respect that. My mic's loud. Yes, sir.
All right, well, that's good to know.
Hey, you know what? And you are short for words too, my man. But you know what you do say, you capitalize on what needs to be said. And let's just jump right in it, man. And the news is still hot. We spoke before the fight was before the two fighters walked in the ring, and I'm talking about Andy Ruiz Jr. You told me leading up to it, you said, you know what? He's going to give Anthony Joshua some problems. And you also said a lot of people are overlooking him. You go, including Anthony Joshua. Do you remember that conversation we had? We had it about maybe 2 o'clock, 1:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, I was driving on 880 between Deep East Oakland to Hayward on my way. I can't tell you where I was going, probably somewhere. But just for the people listening out there, I was saying to you that Anthony Joshua is used to a certain style of fighter. He's used to someone that goes backwards and guys that aren't exchanging with him, and guys that he's used to being able to overcommit on shots, especially a right hand where he can lean in and put everything into it. And Andy Ruiz is one of 2 or 3 guys in the heavyweight division that can slip a punch. And up until that point, I thought that was a big deal, and people might listen to this and laugh or whatever. But there's not a lot of heavyweights that actually have boxing skills like slipping punches, moving, and stuff. And I feel like Anthony Joshua had never really faced someone who could make him miss by slipping and then fire back a shot. I thought Ruiz would rock him, and then possibly it'd be like because we all know Anthony Joshua is a guy who it just seems like his whole career is always going to be a disappointment. And I just expected when he fought Ruiz, not for him to get stopped, but just for him to put on another Anthony Joshua very disappointing performance. And that was kind of what I was seeing.
Well, you know, even when he fought Klitschko, Klitschko's an offensive fighter, so if he'd had slips and punches, you know, he probably wouldn't have been on the canvas and caught that big uppercut, you know, in the fight. But it was going back and forth.
Not to interrupt you, but Klitschko was like a range fighter, too, because Klitschko got knocked out a couple of times. I believe Corey Sanders was one of them, and he got knocked out, and then Emmanuel Stewart recreated his style, and he became a guy who literally, if you got on the inside, he just holds you. Well, and that was literally his strategy on the inside. Then he just tried to throw long, straight jabs, and if he felt comfortable, throw the right hand. And that was literally all he did.
Well, I mean, Emmanuel Stewart, he's the only trainer, and probably is the only trainer today that does not train a fight or a fighter to go the distance. He trains for the knockout. His whole game plan, every fight that he goes into, he trains the fighter for a knockout. I heard it from him himself when we used to talk in Vegas a lot. We used to talk over the phone. You know, the man's from Detroit. And long story short, man, we used to have some great conversations. And he'll grab an attribute of a fighter and he'll put it on a plateau where you're able to even be stronger at your strong points. Instead of trying to be well balanced everywhere, he's going to grab a strong point and make it work for you. So I just wanted to touch on that. And yeah, you're absolutely right. Not too many fighters slip punches as well as Andy Reese. I mean, he's very agile and very balanced. And let's remember, the man has knockout power, and he showed it. And to touch back on our conversation, you gave Andy Reese more than a chance when everybody else was overlooking him. And just for the record, we had that conversation. And you know, on the Fighter's Voice, we called him the next heavyweight champion of the world. I just wanted to throw that out there so people do know that we're not on any bandwagon. We're on the wagon that we called before it even happened. I mean, we call things if they're not as if they are.
Yeah, I mean, it's with Andy. It's I mean, I wouldn't say, like, obviously with Joshua he has knockout power. He proved he has knockout power, but
Yeah.
The equation he's going to be tough for people is with Joshua and Wilder. These are guys who are just used to getting by on power, and they have a lot of flaws. And Wilder's always stood out to me as the better one because he's much more unorthodox, and he seems like a better athlete in terms of getting from A to B faster. And those two guys, I think, are going to have trouble with Andy Ruiz. Where a guy like Tyson Fury, I think Andy Ruiz just literally can't beat a guy like Tyson Fury because it's just a stylistic matchup. Kind of not the same subjects, but kind of like the same way Jermell Charlo, if he were to fight Tony Harris again after this great performance on Sunday, I think his performance against Tony Harrison are always going to be boring because Tony's a counterpuncher and Jermell Charlo is a counterpuncher. And they're always going to give each other tough fights. I think Tyson Fury would just outbox Andy Ruiz probably most times just based on physical dimensions.
Well, I mean, I will say this. Tyson Fury has been overlooked, and you got to remember, Tyson Fury is real, and he is here to stay. On paper, you would think that he's beatable, but now he's getting the respect. You know, I'll compare him to this. Back in the day when Larry Bird played basketball, they would overlook him because they see this guy. They said he has no balance, he has no coordination, but the guy would just beat you constantly. All he did was win because people would overlook him as opposed to the athlete, as opposed to the Michael Jordan, the Magic Johnson, the James Worthy, et cetera, et cetera. I will say this. Anthony Joshua, he has something to prove. Out of all the heavyweights, and I'm going to say the top four, he has something to prove out of everybody. And I see this fight going the same way. I see the rematch with Anthony Joshua actually trying to outbox Andy Reese next time, because if he goes in there in the pocket and trades, I'm looking for the same outcome.
Yeah, it's well, I don't think he can do much to change anything. Like the Joshua has to work on is fighting behind a jab, and people say, well, he didn't use his jab. Well, he's never used his jab. See, in order for him to use his jab, when people say, oh, he should have used distance, he's never been that type of fighter. Joshua kind of comes out, he stumbles around, he hits you a few times, and then when he thinks you're hurt, he comes in like Juggernaut from the X-Men, and he tries to stop you. And typically that's been good enough up until this point. And with Ruiz, when he did all that wild, coming in crazy stuff, he got hit with a left hook. And we know he doesn't take punches well because Klitschko dropped him, Povetkin rocked him. And it's pretty clear to me, like, is that there's an obvious concern from their side that they didn't want to make the Wilder fight until they had all the financials on their side. Because I don't think anyone now after Ruiz stopped Joshua thinks Wilder won't stop him.
No, you know what? I don't think that's high on the list as far as people wanting to see Wilder and Anthony Joshua. I think people definitely want to see the rematch. Andy Reese, he has another opportunity to show everybody that it wasn't a fluke, that it wasn't. I don't like to use the term luck in boxing because I don't believe in luck. I don't even believe in that word. But just to prove that he is who he says he is. Anthony Joshua, to me, out of all the heavyweights, he has more to prove to all of them. And I'm looking for the rematch. And there's no guarantee that you're going to see Fury and Wilder again. Although I do think that Wilder is meeting a different Ortiz. I think we saw the best Ortiz the first time. What's your take on that rematch that has been announced?
I think Ortiz has a real chance to beat him.
Oh, do you
because
really?
You get all these idiots out here that say, oh, because I had like an idiot on my Twitter, and I was saying Joshua's going to get knocked out first, and he says all this disrespectful stuff. The guy, it happens, Joshua gets knocked out before Wilder. You tell him, and then the guy acts like you're the jerk when all day he's just been saying bad things about you. And I go to these people, and I look at those type of people, because boxing is the one sport where a lot of the experts are consistently wrong. So what you do is you look at the people who are always wrong, and you look at what they consider assumptions or what's right, and you know that something they're saying is wrong, because they're experts at being wrong. So you look at them and you go, man, that person's always pretty off, right? So they're saying this is a bad fight. So this is going to be a lot better fight than they think, because they don't really get anything. And then from there, I look at Luis Ortiz, southpaw, much more talented fighter than Wilder in terms of just natural pedigree, although Wilder's advanced him as a professional. Tricky nearly stopped Wilder in their fight, was winning on my scorecard at the time. And this is his last chance to do anything in his professional career. Luis Ortiz plays the part of being a world champion without having a belt. If he loses to Wilder again, he will never be a world champion. And I think that that's a very, very dangerous fighter to fight, especially for Wilder, who's going to be looking, whether he says it or not, at Fury fights, at Joshua fights. He's not going to be fully committed to Luis Ortiz, who's going to be fully committed to him.
Yeah, you know what? You got a point there. And talking about fully committed, out of all the heavyweights, I mean, Wilder fully commits to that right hand. I mean, again, too much where he's off balance. But, I mean, he puts everything into it, all the way down to his toes. So he fully commits on that right hand, and that's been his go-home punch. That's been his landmark in his career. There's been fights where he's been behind in the scorecard, and he relies on his right hand. He has so much confidence in it. Out of the four right there, okay, we'll put Ortiz in there. Oh, now we have five. If we had a round robin, okay, you're going to play matchmaker today. You're going to play promoter. Which two would match up first, and who would have the bye? Out of the five, which one would have the bye? I'm talking about Ortiz, Fury, Joshua, and Reese.
Fury.
Okay, Fury gets the bye. Okay, which two would you match up? And you don't got to go rematch. You can match up any pair you want. I already know.
So I got Wilder, Joshua, and Ruiz.
Okay.
What I'd do is I'd match up Fury with Ruiz and Joshua with Wilder, because that's two fresh matchups.
Okay. Well, I mean, styles make fights. I would love to see Ortiz and Reese, just because two guys are going to sit in the pocket and bang.
I think Ortiz might beat him, because I think the style Ortiz has is like the worst style. Like Tyson Fury and Luis Ortiz are the two worst styles for Andy Ruiz, whereas Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua are the two best styles for Andy Ruiz. So if I was handling him, I'd try to stay as far as away from Luis Ortiz or Andy Ruiz or Luis Ortiz until there's a big money fight.
Okay, very well said. I mean, Ortiz kind of reminds me a little bit of a throwback Michael Moore, not just because from the southpaw stance, just the way the 1-2 comes out, instead of throwing a bunch of combinations. I'm sure you know who Michael Moore is, my man. One of those people from Emmanuel Stewart.
He's just kind of like Luis Ortiz is just a fighter you see through generations, where it's like they're pretty darn good, but they can't quite get to be great. And
almost like a Burt Cooper.
I mean, they're exactly like Burt Cooper, like Michael. There's never an endless supply of these guys they're almost there. Like, I'll throw out another name, Erislandy Lara. Like, he's almost there, you know. There's just like something missing, you know. But people get mad at me when I say Erislandy Lara is probably the most decorated Cuban pro boxer ever. But if you look up Cuban boxing, this is crazy. Lara has the most accomplishments of any Cuban boxer.
Absolutely. He needed that last victory, too.
One, like, he's sold the most tickets. He's fought on pay-per-view. I don't believe any other Cuban fighter has fought on pay-per-view. He's fought on a pay-per-view. He's more than likely sold the most tickets. He's held multiple world titles. I hate to say it, but it's a business and it's a sport, and that matters when you look at who's the greatest of the fighter. We don't just... I once sat at my buddy's house once, and he was playing me this video of a guy playing guitar.
Okay.
A big old fat guy. And he was saying, this guy's the best guitarist in the world. And I go, well, where's he playing? He said he's playing in a dive bar and most people aren't listening. And even if you're the best guitarist, I'm not going to rank you as the best guitarist if you're playing TGI Fridays at Tuesday night in a room that's not paying attention. The audience you play for, in my book, matters. That matters to the legacy of what we call great. Just because you have a skill set, if you don't do anything with the skill set, I'm not just going to put you on a pedestal and say in 1930 this fighter was the greatest fighter because he did this and this. I'm going to take into account the entertainment value.
Well, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go the 1930 because it was, I mean, any kind of entertainment was entertainment. But I get your point right now, man. But hey, you know, we're going to take a commercial break. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be coming right back. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be coming right back with Luca right now, and we're going to take a commercial break. Rich Ortiz, the fighter's voice, the only voice that matters. Hey, stay tuned. I hope you enjoy this commercial.
I'm Bob Arum, and I'm with the Fighter's Voice.
My name is Andre Ward.
Knocking out the competition.
Fighter's Voice!
The Fighter's Voice.
Hi, I'm Jose Ramirez.
I'm Bob Arum.
Hi, I'm Robert Garcia, and I'm with the Fighter's Voice.
The only radio show knocking out the competition. Fighter's Voice Radio Show.
Hey, Rich Ortiz here, and we're back. The Fighter's Voice Knockout Podcast. We're still here with our guest, Mr. Luca. He's in charge, my man. Today, he has the studio. Today, he has the mic. He's going to give you his opinion. He's going to give you his know-how and his understanding. And this next segment is sponsored by Miles Harris, attorney in law. Hey, if you need an attorney, if you need someone to go to bat for you, whether it's a DUI, whether you had something in your glove compartment you shouldn't have, whether it's child support, or you just need somebody to be your voice and represent you, that's Miles Harris, attorney in Fresno, California. He'll take care of you. He'll be there with you. And like they say, like a fish, he'll get you right off the hook. Trust me. Hey, what's happening, my man? Luca, how we doing, my man?
Good. I'm very good. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for sticking around, man. Those of you who don't know with us, we got with us the one and only Mr. Luca Cattell. Did I say it right? I hope I did. He's in charge of ITR Boxing, Inside the Ropes. You got to check out his video. You got to check out his YouTube channel, and you got to just respect his grind, my man. Hey, Luca, you're everywhere, man. I mean, you are everywhere. Every time I talk to you on the phone, Richard, I'm on my way to do this. I got a minute or two. I'm supposed to cover this, or I'm going to go to this gym. Well, how does your day start, my man? Talk to us about your day. Because a lot of people don't know. They think that you just do boxing. I know you do some other things like skateboarding, golf, and some other things. And
I mean, lately, I don't know. Lately, I wish I had a more consistent day, but typically my day starts between, I'd say something like between 5:30 and 6. That's when I normally wake up.
Okay.
Then I do a couple of hours of email. Like that's typically, I wake up to about 80 emails. So I do 80 emails.
You better pay your bills, man.
Yeah, so I do about 80 emails, and then I try to have all of that done, and then at 8 a.m. wherever I'm going for the day and whatever field I'm going to be in by 8 to 9, I like to be scheduled, have that going. Typically, I'm in traffic for at least an hour to show up to where I'm going to do, and then it depends on if I'm doing something based on more work-related or more into the boxing field, and then I just kind of go from there, because obviously if you're doing an entrepreneurial business endeavor, those are a lot more risky in the sense where you have to kind of scheme out what's going to be the overhead, and by that I mean the allocation towards it, and then you try to look at the funds and the way to turn a profit so you can be able to pay bills. So when you go entrepreneurial, just in terms of businesses, you have to think about time served, whereas when it's boxing, typically someone calls you up, says, hey, we'd like to have you come in, this is the set fee, so forth and so on.
Yeah.
And on those days where that's set up, you can set up a few of those and then run with that and so forth.
You know what? I'm going to throw some names at you, man, and I want your take on them. Even if we got to go to commercial, because we got a couple commercials that we got to go to, but nevertheless, I want your take on all the Valley guys. I want to do a segment on where are they now. I mean, I'm talking about the Smoking Joe Louis Lopez, the Kilo the Kid Madera, the Daniel Valdivias, the Brian Lewis, and I'm talking about some kids with the exception of Kilo that have not really been active. Let's start with Daniel Valdivia. What's your take on Daniel Valdivia at this point of his career and where he started from?
I mean, I think he's in a tough situation. I think he's a solid fighter. I think he'd be a fighter where he'd be best suited to maybe fight on regional shows if he wants to continue. See, what people gotta remember is he's accomplished a lot. You know, he's fought in his hometown of Tulare. He's fought near there at Tachi Palace. He's accomplished a lot. He's fought on TV, on The Contender. We gotta first and foremost figure out if he wants to continue boxing, because he's accomplished a lot through boxing. Not everybody gets to go undefeated. Not everybody gets to be a world champion, but he has done a lot of stuff. And if he wanted to continue, fight locally, and then if he can get his record up, which I believe he could if he fought locally, I'm sure with the name he has and the support behind him, he could get a fight against a very tough opponent where he'd probably be coming in the wrong corner, but it would be what we call an opportunity. And at this point, I think that's what's left for him.
Very well said, man. Actually, you know, some people were asking about Daniel Valdivia, and, you know, I attempted to reach out, but I didn't get the response that I like to get, so I can try to invite him to the show and hear it from himself. And also, what's your whole take on I was just looking at some of his fights today, and of course, the classic with Kilo the Kid Madera, Joe Louis Lopez. When you hear that name, I mean, where are they at now, and what do you think he can do or should do with his career?
Man, Joe's just cool. Joe's going to be fine. Joe's just got cool. He's got, like, cool swag.
Yeah, he does.
He just knows how to be cool. Like,
he knows he's
cool.
cool.
Sayings, and, like, he's just, like, a cool guy. I feel like boxing for Joe, he's good at boxing, but it was a way to maybe help him go on to his next endeavor in life. Like, it helped create some structure, and it helped give him some great stories. And he strikes me as, like, a really cool coach, whether it's football or boxing. He's going to be, like, the cool coach that could relate to kids who are probably, like, getting in trouble in school a lot. And he's the guy that could actually, like, change someone's life.
You know, I'm smiling right now because you're hitting it right on the nail.
That's how I see Joe. I don't know if Joe, like, honestly, like, Joe might fight again or not, but, like, to me, I don't think Joe's future is really in fighting. I think it's helping people in his neighborhood, because he's a cool dude that I think has a really good heart.
Okay, I agree with you. Now, I want to ask you, this kid has been inactive, and but when he's active, man, he has so much potential, but you know, boxing has a small window, has a small time frame. I actually reached out to him today, so he should be coming on sometime in July. And I'm talking about Madera's own Brian the Lion Lua. What's your take on Brian, this part of his career, where he's at this point?
Man, he's a really talented fighter. He's a really nice young man. And the problem is just activity. I don't know his current situation. I've heard people say stuff about his situation, about until I've physically seen his situation or understand it, I don't know what it is. But he's a young kid who's with Top Rank, and he's been inactive for a year. And it's a shame, because he's a kid who has a lot of talent, and he's with Robert Garcia, who's one of the best trainers in the world.
I agree.
And that's a great opportunity. I know when I was 18 or 19 years old, I went away to college, and I heard a lot of people telling me everything I couldn't do. And in his position, he's 18 or 19, and he's got a lot of things where people tell him, you can do anything. And that, whenever you're in those type of situations, I think that's a cool moment. I just hope he gets a chance to compete and see how well he can compete, because he's so young and he's accomplished a lot, that I just hope he gets that ability to try that out.
Okay, I respect that. And now we have a fighter who's a stablemate of his. He's active, very active, and he's still on the circuit. And what's your whole take on Fresno's own Isidro Ochoa, who's also with Top Rank and at this point undefeated?
I think Isidro's a really good fighter. He's an extensive amateur. He's fought pretty much every superstar of boxing when they were like 9 years old. I think Isidro at some point, correct me if I'm wrong, took a little bit of a break from boxing and came back. And as a pro, I think Isidro is going to be a guy who he's on the track. So he's going to get a chance to build his record up and develop. And when he gets to the 6 or 8 round fights, hopefully he can start to look more impressive and not just be considered a boxer. And I know I'm a big fan of boxing, like pure boxing.
Yeah.
But sadly, a lot of the fans, they want a little bit more. You can box, but they want to see that you can hurt someone or that there's a level of excitement to the fight. So I think the challenge for Isidro is, for him, when he gets to the 6 and 8 round fights, because he's active, he's with Robert, he's fighting often, he has to try to think about not just how do I win, but which is number one, but also can I win in a manner where maybe 2 or 3 more people want to follow my life on Instagram? And I think that's the phase he's at, where he's got to think about also the business side of things along with how he fights.
You know what? Isidro's one of those chess pieces that needs the right. I don't want to say team around him. He just needs someone to take a stand on his team and move him forward to give him more of an opportunity. And I know he had an injury leading up to his fight that he was supposed to have, but I spoke to him just recently, and he's ready to go. He's back in training camp, and he's getting ready to drop a date pretty soon. Hey, I want you to stand by because we got to knock these commercials out. We'll be coming right back with our guest, Mr. Luca. Hey, Rich Ortiz with the Fighter's Voice, the only voice that matters. Stay tuned. We'll be coming right back.
I'm Bob Arum, and I'm with the Fighter's Voice.
My name is Andre Ward.
Knocking out the competition.
Fighter's Voice!
The Fighter's Voice.
Hi, I'm Jose Ramirez.
I'm Bob Arum.
Hi, I'm Robert Garcia, and I'm with the Fighter's Voice.
The only radio show knocking out the competition. Fighter's Voice Radio Show.
Hey, Rich Ortiz with the Fighter's Voice, the only voice knockout podcast. Hey, if you just joined us right here in studio, on the phone, in person. I know he's hiding in the next room and he's probably on the phone. Mr. Luca from ITR Boxing. Hey, if you haven't subscribed to him, make sure you subscribe to Inside the Ropes. I mean, this guy is really inside the ropes. When he goes inside the ropes, he goes through dimensions. He's right there with the fighter. He's damn near putting the mouthpiece in the fighter. And he has a very close relationship with a lot of these fighters, and they respect his work, and they also respect his grind. And guys, are you ready for this, Luca? Are you ready for this? Okay, check it out. I want to thank our sponsor right here. And it's right here. Look, everybody. Snickers Candy Bar right here. The official candy bar of the Fighter's Voice. That's hashtag Snickers, at Snickers, at Andy Reese Jr. Hey, Snickers Candy Bar. It'll plug your career to higher levels, and you may just walk away with 3 belts around your waist. It worked for Andy Reese Jr., and it's the official candy bar of the Fighter's Voice. Hey, do you like Snickers, Lukey?
I'm not a big candy person, but for the sake of this segment, I'll say yes.
Okay, man, because I'm going to send you one right now, man. I'm going to send you one right now. Look, you got to go after things in life. You know dang well, just as I do, and I keep saying this over and over again. Call things as if they're not as if they are. Claim it, give it life, and, be grateful for it, especially when God blesses you with it. And you have a very intel when it comes to boxing. You don't just talk about the edge. You don't just talk about the outside. You get inside, you get in-depth. And a lot of times I'll go to you. I'll give you a call. And we'll pick each other's brain. A lot of times you're always giving me positive feedback, and I appreciate and respect that. That's why I respect your take on a lot of these fighters. I'm going to mention some more names here. We got a couple more Valley fighters, and you've been on the mark so far. The last one we had was Isidro Ochoa. And I want to talk about, there's another Fresno fighter who is also on the contender. And no, he's not with Top Rank. He's with PVC. I mean, and the man has high skill set, and I believe he's going to be fighting in Minnesota pretty soon. And I'm talking about Marcos Madman Hernandez. What's your whole take on Marky?
Well, that's family. You know, I view Lil Marky like my little brother, man. That's like a nephew. You know, look, Marcos Hernandez, Marky could be an undefeated fighter if he was moved differently. But see, the thing is, and this is what I respect about his manager, Pete Lopes, and I respect about Al Heyman, is the way the PBC works, and people, I don't know if people realize this from the outside looking in, they don't build you at a certain point. You get hard fights, and then if you win the hard fights, you become $1 million fighter. So his losses are to Davis. I'm getting old, so I forget the guy's name. Chiron shut it down, Davis, and he lost to Jason Rosario.
The rematch?
And those are two top 15, top 20 guys. And if this is the UFC, people would be like, "Whoa, this guy's." And this is what I think Al Heyman and the PBC are trying to do, is they're trying to make it okay to lose because they're trying to get the young fighters to fight each other. But I think if this was UFC, people go, Marky's one of these entertaining, super awesome fighters, and we should just tune in to see him because he's action, he brings it. But in boxing, we're so trained to look at the O and all that, that I think people are negative about his career. But I think that if he can put together a win in Minnesota and do some things, the middleweight division over at PBC, there's a ton of guys, so he can get in there. And I mean, even if Daniel Valdivia were able to get into the PBC, I mean, you could throw those two together, or they could dance with a bunch. But there's options for him.
What do you think his strengths are when he's in the ring?
I think that he's a tremendous competitor. And I think that he at first may not have been a tremendous boxer per se, but he's always been a tremendous winner. And I look at his fight against Quintavious Cash as a big example of that, where he lost the first 2 rounds, and his coach Henry Ramirez helped him. But it was also like, I feel like he's so competitive, he didn't want to lose the fight. And he has an ability that not a lot of fighters have, where he seemingly either gets embarrassed or he just hates losing so much that he can kind of go into this cruise control format of avoiding a loss.
You know what? I agree with you up to some point. I do want to say some things that, from what I know of him, I think his boxing IQ is through the roof. I mean, he's been taught. He sets traps. I like for him to sit down on his punches more. Beautiful left hook. And he has what it takes. I don't think there's any more pressure on him. I mean, having those losses, there's no. Of course, you want to continue to win. You want to get in that win column. But I think the pressure's off him now. I think you're going to see a different Marky Hernandez. You're going to see the maturity. You're going to see the growth, and you're going to say, as if to say, "Hey, I've already been there. My Ola has been cracked already." So the welcome to the sport of boxing, and he welcomes it. And he did really well on the Contender before that injury.
Yeah, I mean, as someone that cares about the kid, I hope that he has pressure on him. Because if he starts to get where there's no pressure on him, I think then he's going to be out of the sport. Because he's someone where I think he's someone that's fighting the world, and he's got a chip on his shoulder. And I'd be very, very scared if he got complacent.
Well, when I say that, there's a maturity as opposed to a comfort zone, because no fighter wants to get comfortable. But a maturity level gives you that edge, and you use whatever pressure that your mind tries to tell you, you use it to your advantage, and you embrace it instead of running away from it and say, yeah, I'm feeling pressure. There's a whole different type when you embrace it, because you're going to use it as formula. You're going to use it as fuel. So that's my clarification on that. Yes, exactly. I do want to keep a fighter waking up in the morning and being disciplined.
Yeah, I mean, I just think Marky is the only fighter really in this area that's signed to Al Heyman.
Yeah, he is.
And that should mean a lot to people, because Al Heyman's made as many millionaires as the Lotto practically.
Yeah.
So that should tell people about the talent that they see with him.
Yeah, I don't know the whole contract with Chico. We got a fighter in Fresno as well, Chico, and I don't know the. Yeah, exactly. I know he fought on one of Al Heyman's cards, so I don't know if it was a contract. I don't know if it was a trial basis. You never know what's going on a lot of times, because Al Heyman tries to keep his fighters active, and I haven't seen any activity, so I don't know if it's due to injury, promotions, management. So before I can even comment on that, I'm not too sure exactly what's going on there. Now, of course, when we talk about Valley Fighters, of course, we know what fighter gave these guys the opportunity. We know what fighter says, hey, I want these local guys on my card. We know what fighter said, hey, it's time to give back. And he gave back before he was champion. He gave back before he became a millionaire. He gave back before he started coming on ESPN. He gave back by giving these young fighters the opportunity to fight on his card. And we're talking about the Avenal Kid, the WBC super lightweight champion of the world, and that's Jose Ramirez. And I know we're going to touch on this, we're going to commercial, and then we're going to slam dunk this. So give me your whole take with Jose Ramirez.
Well, first off, I'd like to say that with Jose Ramirez and Rick Morigian, I'm extremely grateful because they basically allowed me to elevate my platform with being able to cover Jose, because Jose is someone the whole world wanted to learn about because he was such a high-level Olympian facing guys like Lomachenko and the amateurs. So it's really been a big blessing for me to be able to cover those fights because it basically brought in people from all over the country and the world that just were fans of Jose Ramirez. I think Jose's a tremendous fighter, and I think he's probably the best. Actually, I should say probably. I really, truly believe he's the best 140-pound fighter in the country right now. That will be decided out. I don't think he has much longer of a career. I think he's probably got about like a 2 to 4 more years. But I think he has a tremendous legacy, and I also like that his legacy isn't just in the boxing ring, that he brought local guys onto major shows, that he helped out in his community as best as he could. And I wish other world champions would take his lead and not just try to to show off and do things, but also try to look at young people who are not getting opportunities, whether they're fighters, whether it's people struggling with cancer. I know he just donated money to help that, and to think beyond themselves. I think that's an outstanding achievement and makes him a true world champion, both inside and outside the ring.
You know, I agree with you 100%, man. I mean, with Jose, we're going to take a whole segment right now. We're going to take a commercial break. We're going to come right back, and we're going to pick up where we left off and talk about that Avenal Kid. That's Jose Ramirez. Hey, I'm Rich Ortiz, your host of the Fighter's Voice Knockout Podcast. We'll be coming right back after this commercial break.
I'm Bob Arum, and I'm with the Fighter's Voice.
My name is Andre Ward.
Knocking out the competition.
Fighters Voice!
The Fighter's Voice.
Hi, I'm Jose Ramirez.
I'm Bob Arum.
Hi, I'm Robert Garcia, and I'm with the Fighter's Voice.
The only radio show knocking out the competition. Fighter's Voice Radio Show.
Hey, welcome back, Fresno, California, the Fighter's Voice, the only voice that matters, Knockout Podcast. With us on the line, we have Luca from ITR Boxing. If you have not subscribed to his channel, I suggest you do so now. Tell a friend to tell a friend, because his show is hot, it's raw, it's real, and he gets right in depth. He has his own style, and at the end of the day, all fighters, he makes them smile. Now, before we went to commercial break, we were talking about the Avenal Kid. That's Jose Ramirez. Now, I do want to touch about this, because I was getting ready to name his team, and of course, Rick Morigian. And, of course, we got the Hall of Fame trainer, Robert Garcia. But one man that seems to get overlooked, one man that seems to just like the breeze just passes by and the breeze never hits him. And I'm going to give this guy kudos. I'm going to give him props, and that's Mr. Charles Trimley, his speed and agility and nutrition coach, man. I mean, he's always getting kind of lost in the background, but he's the center block, he's the centerpiece, and he's the man behind the scenes. What's your whole take on that?
I mean, Charles is awesome. You know, I think for any world champion or any high-level fighter, it's very important to remember where you come from.
Yeah.
And not just socioeconomically. It's important to have friendships that last a lifetime. Before I got on this radio show, and after I had worked today, I got to see my brother, who's known me my whole lifetime, and we went out and we ate some terrible food. I bring this up to say...
Terrible food? What did you guys eat, man?
He chose a place that wasn't very good,
Oh, okay.
but we got some terrible food. And I say all that to say this, that no matter how cool anyone thinks he is or people think I am for whatever I do, guess what? That's still someone that knows me and I can be super comfortable around. And I think Charles Tremblay, what's great about him and Jose is Jose's just a human being to him. Sure, he's the world champion, but that's someone where they started with a vision, probably in a very low-rent gym, just with a goal of trying to accomplish something. And then they accomplished it. And now they're working with a much bigger budget at a bigger scale. And it's great to have people that know what they're doing, that started from such an early point on, and to see them doing stuff with fighters and fighters being so loyal to those people. Tremendous to see.
You know, yeah, you're absolutely right. And I'll tell you the whole story. I used to coach Charles Tremblay's daughter. Our kids played travel soccer together. And I remember him calling me and says, Richard, there's this kid from Avenal. He's getting ready to be an Olympian. And he said, I guarantee you, because I'm working with him, he goes, I guarantee you this guy's going to be a world champion. I mean, he told me this before that McDonald's Cup came out. When that McDonald's Cup came out with Jose on it, my brother Larry said, Richard, this is going to be the next Oscar De La Hoya. And when you hear these things from people that you respect, it's just a matter of time, and then you see it come to pass. But I remember Charles, from day one, he said, look, I'm going to work on his speed. I'm going to work on his power. This kid is going to be a world champion. And he said it even before Jose was in the Olympics, man, when he started working with him, was getting ready to take off for the Olympics. And, to me, he's the next superstar because he's the man behind the scenes. And, you know, it's good to have a great athlete to work with, but he's the one putting in the time, the preparation, and he has a great team around him. So he's one piece of that team. And also another person that gets overlooked, that's his brother Luis. Luis handles Jose very well. Jose is comfortable with Luis. He goes to Luis for a lot of things. When Jose don't feel like answering the phone, he'll have Luis take care of it. And Luis has been more than a younger brother. He's almost been like an older brother in looking after his brother. So, you know, when you got a great team like that, you have great success, man. Just like the Fighter's Voice, we got a great team. We have a great videographers throughout California. We got great editors. We got a great cameraman. We have a great program, great co-host. And, you know, I wouldn't be sitting here doing what we're doing without this team. And my point is this. Every time I see you, Luca, you're always by yourself. Who does your team consist of? Me, South, and I? Or do you have some people behind the scenes?
I can list it, but I'll do a roll call.
Okay.
I got a good friend named, I call him Real Ray Sanchez. He's in Utah. I got Felix Garcia in Arizona, the co-owner of ITR Boxing. Then I'm my podcast crew, which is Rob Palmer in LA, and Mark Luketic, who's also in the LA area. My good buddy Martin Gallegos, the staff writer for the San Jose, or I guess it's the MLB for the Oakland A's. And then we also have supportive people in my life, from my mom to my friend Anthony Saladana, a.k.a. Stax, who works with Supreme Boxing. Nancy Rodriguez has always been very supportive of me. Frank Staya of Top Rank. A bunch of people have been very supportive, so even though they're not a part of my team, these are people who I can call up. Oh, and I forgot my friend Sunha Kim. He writes for ITR, but I think it's not just about if they're a part of the quote-unquote team. Are they people I can have a conversation and ask advice? Because I need people who are older and wiser than me that I can just ask for advice at times.
You know, you put me in a bad spot, man. I just you gave a whole list of names. Okay, it's my turn now. I got KP, my man behind the camera. I got Shally Hollis in Stockton. I got Mark Davis, photographer. I got Big Al Perez Jr. from Main Events Graphics. I got Scotty, who makes the logos that'll just make you pop. We got Raul Martinez, who's in Fresno/Stockton. And also, I don't want to forget, Aco Escovedo, the co-host with the most. And this lady that we're going to invite to the show, I'm sure you know her as Carol the Cut Woman. We'll be bringing her here on Tuesdays. The woman knows her boxing, she knows her background, and she got a strong story to tell. And I will say this, because I'm going to come back to that right now. I hope I didn't leave anybody else. Oh, yeah, and also behind the scenes, we got Miss Sophia, who handles all the paperwork, all the trademarks, everything, the due dates and what have you. So if I don't start mentioning names like you did, I'm going to get some unhappy people, man, because I appreciate everybody that comes aboard. And also, yes, Bobby, my man at Mad Production Studios, man. I mean, the list can go on and on. Oh, yes, and Big Bill Coddington from Madera, California, always got my back, and he truly does. Now, being that said, I feel better now, Luca, because if I didn't start mentioning names either, you know the way it goes. Almost like when you get an Academy Award or you want to thank somebody. I'm not saying we're doing all that, but still, it's always good to give props and kudos where it needs to be done. So, being that said, I do want to talk to you about Carol the Cut Woman.
Okay.
And no, when she came on this platform, and you know what, you know who called it? KP Bobby called it. And honestly, when guests come on this platform, the career blows up. It really does. I mean, I'm not saying we're the one, but Christina Patra, when she came on here, she got promoted. And she said, see, Richard, when I came on your show, and even though she was joking, it is what it is. Andy Reese, we had fighters from 559 Fights coming to fight for the belt, and then they win. Everybody's been successful who's been on this show, this platform. We had rappers come on here, and all of a sudden, they get a record deal. All of a sudden, things are starting to move for them. Carol the Coat Woman, we've always known that she has a platform, and she is the voice of the people, not just the women, because she has a very special, strong story to tell. It's heartwarming at the same time, and at the same time, you respect it, because what she does inside and outside of the ring. You got to meet her someday, Luca.
Yeah, I mean,
she works the corners
on
of fights.
Facebook, but I've never physically met her.
Oh, yeah. Well, and when you do, be careful, dude, because she'll drop a right hand on you. She will, dude. She don't hesitate, man. No, she will. So just take it like a man if you get punched by a chick. Did I come out right? Or you get punched by a woman. Take it like a man.
Yes.
Yeah, she'll chin check you, man, not to put you on the spot. Hey, but Luca, tell us about the time that you were ring announcing, and that time you took it upon yourself to get inside the ring. I respect that. To be out of your comfort zone.
Announcing, I really don't like ring announcing because I don't say anyone's name right.
neither do I.
It just wasn't like, I mean, I do it once a year. I'm going to do it again.
Awesome.
And I believe September.
Okay.
I'm going to do the Dreamland Masters tournament in San Jose.
Okay.
And it's really just Jesse Huerta is just a great guy. He runs a great program at Dreamland Boxing Training Center. And really, they just invite me down there as kind of like a thank you. They view that I do a lot for the boxing community. So they want to get me in there as just kind of like, not a joke, but it's more like kind of a thank you. Would you come out? They get me a hotel room, and I think it's going to be a tradition for a while for me to do the ring announcing there. As for doing a little fist fight, my good friend Sean Sharkey owns a gym in Martinez, a great person, Box Talk Freddy. He has a website, Box Talk 101.
Okay.
And Dan, we had this organization called Feet First, which is basically helping troubled kids who don't really have a place to go, maybe after school, and life's tough, and they're dealing with different feelings, and they haven't been around for 30 or 40 years in life. They don't know how to work with those feelings. So we wanted to put together a program where we could maybe let them come to a boxing gym and just get tired and be able to talk to people and so forth and so on. And for the first fundraiser, I just kind of threw my hat in the race and said, hey, I'll just jump in and I'll do the fight, you know, just to drop a little bit more attention. And some sponsors got on board because it was fun. And I mean, me and Freddie, we had a darn good one. Tough guy. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, he hit me with some good shots. I believe I hit him with some good shots. Maybe I took too many and I don't realize I did.
Yeah.
So it was just a good one. My good close friend, LeRon Mitchell, a heavyweight signed to Thompson Boxing, he cornered me. Close friend, Shane Wheaton, he worked with me a few days, but really I mostly trained myself, but Shane helped me. And, I mean, I'd like to say I did as a thank you to the fighters, but I really just did it because I go to the gym, and this organization is something I believe in, and I thought if I did it, if I took the fight, I knew at least 4 or 5 or 8 or 15 people that wouldn't have come would pay $20 to see the fight. And to me, that who knows what that extra $200 could do for this foundation. So I got in there for that.
No, I appreciate that. I mean, you were out of, I don't want to say it in a bad way, you were out of your comfort zone, and you said, you know what, I'll go ahead and do it. And I respect that. I respect when somebody does that, especially for a great cause. Now, tell us in 2 minutes, I want your take, who's a friend of mine. I felt every punch in there. I'm feeling exactly what he's feeling now. Not exactly the hurt. He feels a little bit of hurt, maybe some betrayal, some confusion, but nevertheless, man, I'm talking about a class act. I'm talking about a blue collar. I can't have a show without mentioning El Tiburon, Andy Vincent from San Jose, California. Give us your take on the fight, his performance, and where does he go from here?
So I think it was a tough fight. It was a close fight. And I think it's a fight where he's going to just have to sit back, look at the tape. And I know he's very critical and analytical, and he's just going to look at the tape And the thing about Andy is he works extremely hard, put this fight behind him, look at the things he needs to improve on, and things will get changed. And then I think he just goes on his path to becoming a world champion. So I think that's pretty much it. But it's just going to be learning from mistakes and the mistakes that you see and not repeating things. And at the same time, it was a very close fight. And that's pretty much it.
You know, I agree with you. And I think Andy's going to come out stronger and be victorious in his next fight. I mean, he is blue collar. And, you know, this is closing segments, and this closing segment is sponsored by Toscano's Promotions. August 3rd, they're coming to Sacramento. I'm sorry, they're coming to Stockton. I almost said Sacramento. I almost did because one of his fighters fights the 29th of this month in Sacramento, California. But Toscano Promotions is coming August 3rd, Stockton, California. My man, they're coming on with the awesome card that's just snowballing with fire. I mean, they always put on a great show. Professional inside and outside of the event. They take care of business. And hey, I can't help but support Toscano Promotions. And look for them to come to Fresno pretty soon. We had a conversation. They want to touch the Bakersfield area. They want to touch the Fresno area. They even want to go back to the Modesto area. But they want to keep Stockton happy. They want to give these fighters the opportunity to continue to compete. They don't got to go out of the country to go get a W or take a long drive to get inside of the boxing ring. Ladies and gentlemen, Toscano Promotions is giving you, the young fighter, the opportunity, so get behind it, support it. We also got a kid from Madera, Jesus Sanchez, who's going to be fighting on that card. He calls himself the Babyface Assassin. Now, I know it's way ahead of time. August 3rd, can we see you in Stockton, California, supporting Toscano Promotions?
Well, yeah, because George, Anna, Israel, all the people involved with Toscano are very good people.
Yes, they are.
And they run a good promotion, and they're doing great things for young fighters, promoting fighters who are having trouble getting fights. So I don't see any reason why I wouldn't come out to that fight. And also, on August 2nd, there's going to be a great fight between Ivan Vergara versus Malachi Johnson that I'm probably going to be at in Sacramento that deserves mention as well. But Toscano Promotions, class acts, especially George Toscano, I don't see any reason why I wouldn't attend such a fight.
Yeah, man, make sure you go there. It's going to be a great event, Hey, the mic is yours right now. Where can we follow you? Let the followers know who watch and support you, what you think of them. Tell us in 30 seconds.
Okay, go to Twitter at Lukey Boxing, itrboxing.com, and go on YouTube, ITR Boxing, all one word.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's it for our show. And I want to give a special thanks to our guest for Lukey, my man. And I'll tell you this, I can call him as we leave right now. I need something done, or I need an answer. He's my go-to guy. He's never changed from day one. I met the man about 3 or 4 years ago when we first started, when I was doing interviews on using my cell phone, and people used to clown me and make fun of me all the time. Lukey always had my back. He's never changed since day one. That's why I respect what comes out of his mouth, and I respect the person that he is. Hey, this is Rich Ortiz, your voice, the ultimate choice, the only voice that matters, knocking out the competition. It's a wrap here in Fresno, California. Thumbs up for Richie.
Never down for the count. It's just another wrap. Thanks for listening to the Fighter's Voice Radio Show. Catch us again next week.
Same when, same how.
And always stay connected to the Fighter's Voice on social media. So, on behalf of Richard Ortiz, Cole Escobedo, our special guests, and the whole crew right here at the Fighter's Voice Radio Show, saying see ya next week, right here on the Fighter's Voice.